I just saw connecting to chat, and yet Streamlabs isn't acting like it's disconnected. That was weird. Yeah, that was...
Alright, that was wonky.
Anyway.
Hey, it ain't my fault Silver stuff
Anyway.
breaking out in front of him.
Anyway. And if Beryl knows where his target is, he's bound to turn up sooner or later. For some reason, I could just tell when and where he'll try to strike. He loves going after his victims when their guard is down, right after they've won a hard battle. So you're both cut from the same dirty cloth, huh? Well, long as this gets him out of our hair, you won't hear me complaining. But don't go taking any serious risks, alright? If you die now, we're gonna have to go through the rigmarole of unifying Norwich again. Oh my, you're worried about me, Muramasi? That makes coming to Britain all the more worthwhile. Don't be an idiot. Since I'm the Child of Prophecy's bodyguard right now, I'd just rather be dealing with you than Spriggan. Sure thing, hon. Whatever you say. Alright, since I'm technically affiliated with Chaldea, maybe it's time I got down to serious business. Percival, Artoria, Silver Shinobi, and Da Vinci. Would you come to the war room with me? I have a proposal for what comes after the prophecy. After the prophecy? Twitch brain go brrr. Let me get right... Let me get right to the point. This Lost Belt isn't like the others. It's not going to go away, even with its Tree of Emptiness destroyed. It was never part of human history long enough to be pruned away in the first place. Rather, this world is just as strong as proper human history. A new human history, not an empty one. Ironic that fantastical creatures like fairies became their own human history, isn't it? So you're saying this place isn't a Lost Belt, but a Lost World, huh? I could buy that. Britain's Tree of Emptiness may have burned down during the attack on Olympus, but it had long since stopped functioning. I think this Lost Belt escaped to the Tree of Emptiness's cosmic fantasy about 2019 years ago. The first year of the era of the High Queen, when Morgan began ruling Britain. It's not the Tree of Emptiness keeping this Lost Belt going, it's Morgan herself. But that also means that once we defeat her, this Lost Belt will go back to the way it was. And that should mean it'll eventually be pruned away just like the others. That's true, at least for Britain, but not for its residents. In the other Lost Belts, the fates of the people who lived there were inextricably tied to their surroundings. But that's not the case for this Lost Belt. If nothing else, we can be sure that fairies who were born during the era of the High Queen won't disappear even if they leave this Lost Belt. It makes sense, really, since this world is just as strong as proper human history. That's the difference I'm trying to point out. You mean they can immigrate? That's right. Humans who were made, born in the land of the Fae can only live here. But if they wanted to, the fairies of this land could immigrate to proper human history. Now do you get it? There's a possible future where you can all live together in peace and harmony. So... What's that all mean, Da Vinci? It means that even if defeating Morgan results in this Lost Belt disappearing, you could still survive if you came with us to the outside world. At least once we figure out how to get past that wall of light. Yep. You could either disappear with this place or start a new life in proper human history. The choice is yours, Artoria. In fact, you could abandon this whole Child of Prophecy thing and just leave right now. There's a whole other life waiting for you on Chaldea's storm border if you want it. I'm kind of amazed you said that, Pepe. Especially with Percival standing right here. Oh? I wouldn't have said it at all if Percy hadn't been here. I've already told him about proper human history, the Lost Belts, Chaldea, and the Trees of Emptiness. That's why I just told you, Silver Shinobi, and Artoria about this as well. I wanted to get this all out in the open so there'd be no hard feelings. Pretty fair of me, right? How do you feel about this, Percival? Well, I don't know nearly as much as the rest of you, so this may be pretty simplistic. But if Artoria wants to stop being the child of prophecy, that's entirely her choice. Really? Even though you went to all the trouble of creating the Round Table Army? Really. I chose to build the Round Table Army on my own. Nobody forced me to do it, and I don't intend to force anyone else to join. And besides, I really don't deserve to be their commander. Not after some of the things I've done. So please, believe me when I say you don't need to give up what you want for us. Besides, now we know that we can still help fairies of Britain escape to the outside world even without defeating the Queen. And isn't just knowing that's an option a big step forward for Fairy Britain? Well, yeah, I guess so. But I still don't think that's good enough. Morgan will never just sit back and let everyone walk away. If we're really going to save the fairies of Britain, there's no getting around the fact we'll have to defeat Morgan Le Fay. Wait, where'd the Le Fay part come from? I'm pretty sure that means the fairy in the Legend of King Arthur. The Fay part changed over time to Fae in modern day English, although I haven't seen a single other fairy called Morgan that since I've been here. I see. So, you still want to defeat Queen Morgan? Hmm? No. Ah. Okay. I see. Oh. I see. So you still want to defeat Queen Morgan, just like the prophecy said, huh, Artoria? Looks like I'm with you to the bitter end, then. If, as a cryptor, I'm going to settle things with Beryl, then I guess as Silver Shinobi's noisy senpai, I have a right to interfere in your affairs, too. Okay, that's enough serious talk for now. And while I trust this goes without saying, for the record, if Artoria plans to continue on her path as a child of prophecy, we'd best keep this conversation between ourselves. Wouldn't be very good for morale if the rebels found out they could just escape the world itself, would it? It makes sense. Gotta get to sleep, need to be up, bright-eyed, eye bags aside, and bushy-tailed, hairless, elongated tail aside. So sorry I couldn't stay longer. That's okay, Carrie. Alright. Okay. Bye-bye Silver and bye-bye girl with a lele. Yeah. Okay. Let's discuss matters as they stand. We may have more soldiers to work with thanks to the volunteers from Norwich, but we can't deploy them right away. They'll likely need more training, and it will take time to establish lines of communication and integrate them into our existing forces. Well, sure, it'd be foolhardy to send over 100 new troops into combat without any practical training. So does that mean we're going to focus on defense while we train the new troops, instead of making a surprise attack on Woodwell's army? That would be the safest option if we had time to take it. Once the Queen sends Woodwell's reinforcements, it'll be much more difficult to hold Londinium's line of defense. So instead, we're going to pretend to focus on defense, while a small squad of elite soldiers from my company, along with Etoile and Kenwood's platoons, take a day to sneak around behind the enemy's forces. Once they're ready, I'll send out my company along with the volunteer soldiers from Londinium to pad their numbers. Then, while the enemy is focused on Londinium, our unit will ambush Woodwose himself and take him out. Once their clan head has fallen, the other fairies should lose their sense of purpose. It's one of the weaknesses shared by all clan-affiliated fairies. I'm not a huge fan of this strategy, but exploiting that weakness is our best move. Then does that mean we're going to settle this tomorrow night? That's right. Our assault unit will set out from Londinium before dawn. As for all of you, I'd like you to stay here and protect the castle walls, just in case. What if we went with you? I appreciate the offer, but you see, we'll be marching upstream through the river. Since none of you are used to traversing that kind of terrain, I'm afraid you'd exhaust yourselves before we even reached our destination. Okay, you got it. I think we could be of help defending Londinium. You obviously know what you're doing when it comes to skirmishing on level ground. So just leave things here to us and focus on winning your fight. I will. Thank you, Lady Da Vinci. I swear on the sacred spear that I won't come back without defeating Woodwoes. If Metal hops in, let him know I said hi, Daddy. God damn it, Carrie.
Oh, rough.
Dun. Is that Oberon? Surprised? I might be a half-wit with perpetual princely smile plastered across his face, but even I fly into a rage if you burn down my domain. But uh-oh, Oberon doesn't play fair. The trap he planted in the woods makes a mess of Barghest's shin. Habitrot? Oh, it's you, Silver Shinobi. I'm just writing in my diary. I have an atrocious memory, so I always write the day's events as entertainingly as possible. What about you? Why did you come to the war room when nobody else was around? Did you feel so guilty about the festivities going on in the town plaza you thought you'd escape up here? You can tell. You're worried about Mash, right? I get it. It's easy not to think about her during a battle, but at times like this you can't help it. I know I keep saying this, but you and Mash will see each other again. I guarantee it. I can't tell you where she is or how she's doing, but I can tell you she's with someone trustworthy. A heroic spirit from proper human history, who you both met before. All you have to do is help Artoria. That's the quickest way you'll be reunited with Mash. But I thought